Hi, this is David. I'm back again. This is a little frustrating. I just did an entire video with no sound, but here we go again. I thought I'd explain a little bit further what the purpose of this channel is. You know, who is this old dude? I'm turning 80 years old. I'm still consider myself a professional. I'm just not out jumping on every job I can get like I used to. The purpose of it is to hopefully show people who are in the midst of learning photography, are already avid shooters, professionals, that there's another side of this that is extremely rewarding. I have acquired some of the most expensive equipment out there to satisfy what I thought would give me the best shots I can get. Sometimes just to absolutely meet the demands of my client. But I'm going back now, and that's what this YouTube is about. I'm going back to my old D700, which is a 12 megapixel digital Nikon camera. In the other videos, or previous ones, I explained why this camera is so wonderful and why I still love it. And I'm also using a lot of the old vintage glass that I had back in the day, which is just blowing me away the more I use it. I've done a couple of professional shoots with this equipment. The clients have been totally satisfied. This weekend, I'm going to do an engagement shoot prior to a wedding shoot. And this will be a little bit more along the lines of what I used to do, but I'm only going to limit myself to the D700. I'm not springing a surprise on the clients. I'm letting them know what I'm doing, and they love some of the stuff I showed them with this old equipment. For this shoot this weekend, I'm also going to be using a lens that I haven't talked about in the previous videos, and that's this Nikon. It's a 135 millimeter 2.8 lens. You can see it's, again, this is the, let me take this rear cap off. This is an AIS lens, which is an absolute must to use on the digital cameras. It works, the pre-AIs worked great. There we go. Pre-AIs worked great with the film cameras. But for digital, if you put a pre-AI, which will not have the little holes drilled out, that'll be your clue to it. It's not AI or AIS. If you try to put those on a digital camera, you can damage the camera, perhaps the lens. So don't do that. You can send some of those old lenses off and have them fixed. I'm doing that right now with a 105. But this lens, it's cute. Look at the size of this glass. It's just, it has its own little lens hood. I'm lucky I've kept my lenses in good shape. Tried to never abuse them. If they're ever abused, it was by accident, of course. But anyway, that's one of the best portrait lenses I've ever had. And I'm just astounded at how well it renders portraits. One of the secrets of those lenses, and I'm not going to go into this stuff. I hope I don't bore you with these videos with tons of information. You can get that from YouTube channels that's what they do. They provide you with tons of information, technical information. But these old lenses, what makes them so dadgum good is the fewer elements they have in the lens itself. The less glass you have in there, sometimes you'll see 27 elements. Well, what that means is they put different layers of glass in there trying to get perfect edge-to-edge focus, perfect light all the way around with no vignette. I mean, just there's reasons they do that, because that makes you think you've got to have that, or else your photography is inferior to others. But I found with these old lenses, you get the micro contrast and a character that you just can't get out of the new lenses. What we're going to go into micro contrast a lot later on. There are certain lenses, and that one I just showed you is one of them with Nikon, that have better micro contrast than others. And we'll go over that. They're all good, but these are especially good when it comes to getting those shade gradations in between your contrast, between your, you've got this grayscale. Let's not get into the grayscale and all that, but there's different layers of the grayscale. And between each one, you can adjust the contrast. But anyway, so what these do, you'll get beautiful portraits, and you think, well, it's a little softer than that $2,000 85 1.2 that I've been using with my Canon or whatever. And that's true. But what you notice when you enlarge it, you can see every hair, every line in the face is just softened. It's what you have to do with those newer lenses in post before you offer the finished product to the client. So we're going to talk about some of these things. The D700, just cost-wise, it's fun. D700, $300 to $400 on eBay. You can get good ones, really good ones for that price. That 135 I just showed you, I'll bet you can get it for $100. Some of the lenses I've been showing you can get under $100. I think maybe the most expensive, maybe $200 or so. Some of them are manual focus, and that's fun. I use manual focus on a lot of the new lenses. It's my style. So what we're going to do, I think I just kicked the camera. I think what we're going to do is just go over why you should try this and why to have fun with photography. I've taken it so seriously before, folks. I've believed everything that I saw on YouTube, that I had to have that equipment, and other photographers around me. I mean, we talk. When you get to the pro level, you're talking with other photographers. There is equipment that you absolutely have to participate in some areas of professional photography, and I cop to that. But there are other things that we can get by with. Like I said, I'm going to be shooting a wedding coming up here pretty soon. The engagements are this weekend, the engagement portraits. I'm going to have to use some lighting. I'll bring that along, and hopefully I'll be proficient enough to show you out in the field what I'm doing. But the main part of the photography is going to be the portraits of this couple, and it's going to be using the D700 and these vintage lenses. They know, I've let them know what I'm going to be doing. They've seen some of my work with the D700, and you can get into photography at the professional level with this equipment. All I'm suggesting is you give it a try. And if you are a pro, a working pro, or you are an enthusiast that has been doing this for years and is getting a little burned out, and maybe like me, I started to feel like a point and shoot photographer with all this, fancy gear that we're enabled with. I mean, most of the stuff that I had to spend money on later was just the equipment around my photography. You got to have stands, you got to have lighting, you got to have things like that. But in the meantime, I suggest you grab one of these older cameras and these older lenses. And if you're like me, photography is going to be fun. You're going to be amazed at what you can do. You're in control again of everything. Right now, everything is pretty much based on Nikon. I hope to get back some of those cameras I sold in the past. I wish I hadn't done that, but that's going to have to come later on. I am an artist, so I don't have a lot of money. So as this channel grows, hopefully I'll get more and more equipment that we can look at, and I'll have more and more examples of what this equipment can offer as far as photographer, either on the enthusiast, amateur, or professional level. And I also noticed on my earlier videos, my teeth looked absolutely black. So folks, I'm still working on lighting. I don't know what to do other than get a flashlight and show my sparkling pearly whites. But anyway, I appreciate you hanging in there with me as I learn this YouTube stuff. And I love you. I love everybody that's watched so far. Please give me a thumbs up. I think YouTube needs to know that. And if you subscribe, that helps me a whole bunch. If you got any questions, please, I'll answer you immediately. I don't have that many questions coming in, but I don't care if I have a million. I'll try to get through every single one of them. Main thing, and I'll emphasize this every video, have fun at this photography. Don't let yourself get burned out or bored like I did. You know, don't let money be the only motivator, because once you start making enough money, then where's the fun? You know, I didn't make money to go buy a BMW or something. I usually made the money to get more camera equipment and just to provide for my family's well-being and for my well-being. So have fun. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the next video, and by then maybe we'll have some shots of this old equipment on a professional wedding gig. Thanks. Talk to you later.